This week, in the lead up to the 10th Fnaf anniversary, we saw the reveal of 2 new Fnaf games, 5 Laps at Freddy's, developed by Click Team, as well as the new Steel Wool Studios project, Secrets of the Mimic. Also, there was a reveal of a collaboration between Fnaf and another notable horror game. The first reveal was of 5 Laps at Freddy's, with speculation that it was some sort of Fnaf-themed go-kart racing game in a similar style to Fnaf World or Freddy in Space 2. That being confirmed 100% correct with the release of the trailer in the lead-up to the demo, which releases later today. So let's quickly go over everything revealed in the 5 Laps at Freddy's trailer. The first thing someone who is more versed in Fnaf lore will notice about this trailer is that it is jam-packed with references to other parts of the Fnaf series. The opening of the trailer, for example, shows a forest, which is listed in the Steam description as Fazbear Hills, the same location from the beginning of Fnaf World. The windmill in the background of this shot also looks very similar to the windmill from Fnaf World. Then there's the logo design of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location shown in the shot, which looks a lot like the one from the Fnaf movie. In this shot here, we can also see what is presumed to be a power-up icon at the top right of the screen. And the appearance of this power-up is actually very similar to the bomb bites from Fnaf World. In this shot, we can also see what looks like a player toggling through all the different power-ups that are available to him, which include the cupcake, a blaster gun, exotic butters, what looks like the power cell attached to the mediocre melodies, so what is probably a battery, a firework rocket, and of course the same Fnaf World bomb we saw earlier. As the players are moving along the track, they also collect present boxes, and what looks to be tickets. And we can guess that some of these presents may contain the power-ups we just saw. In the bottom right of the screen, which we can guess is probably the level of some sort of power used to boost your cart or something similar. And speaking of carts, it looks like we'll have a very wide variety of those to choose from. In the trailer we can see a bunch of different colored carts, as well as one that looks to be themed after Chica's cupcake. And looking at the Steam images, we can see stats for the Purple Man's car from Midnight Motorist, meaning that each of these carts will have different stats, and their appearances will not just be purely cosmetic. The Steam description also says that there will be 12 animatronics to choose from in the game. And in this trailer we can see icons for Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, Chica, Springtrap, Balloon Boy, Mangle, and the Puppet. And here, in this Steam screenshot, we can see a character selection menu, showing 5 of the characters that I just mentioned, with Foxy selected, showing a class bar next to him, which probably implies that each of these characters have different stats. As the carts also have different stats, this could possibly lead to some pretty cool synergies between the two. So as for what the 4 other characters will be, I'd probably guess the 3 other toy animatronics, as well as Golden Freddy, making the full roster a mix of FNAF 1 and 2 characters, as well as the fan favorite and iconic Springtrap. Hopefully this game will be updated over time to include more characters as well, because I'm sure everyone would love to see characters from Sister Location, FNAF 6, and Security Breach. The next pick off of Steam also shows a track selection screen, on which we can see the Fazbear Hills, which we've already seen quite a bit of. Then there's also one themed after the FNAF 6 minigame Midnight Motorist, in which we can see a Steam image showcasing the mysterious Juniors location from that game. The last track listed is called the Sinkhole, which we know is referring to the underground Freddy's location from Security Breach. And we know this because in one of the scenes of the trailer, we can see a sign for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that looks just like the one from the FNAF 6 location in Security Breach. I'd guess these cave-looking parts are also a part of the Sinkhole map as well. And interestingly enough, it also looks like this game is going to have bosses, as towards the end of the trailer we can see a health bar for what looks like something called the Night Shift, before a giant purple fox creature attacks us. As for how boss battles would work in a competitive racing game, I have no idea. But this game does look very fun. I know a lot of people have complained about stuff like FNAF World and Freddy in Space because FNAF is supposed to be a super serious horror series, and honestly I've never minded it much. CAWTHON has always had a decent sense of humor, and something like this is certainly a project to look forward to. It's only when the non-horror, more silly elements of FNAF take the main stage in a more official, non-spin-off game, like we saw with Security Breach, is that I have a problem with it. And speaking of Security Breach, recently we got the Steel Wool Studios announcement for a new game called Secrets of the Mimic. This was revealed with the teaser trailer posted by Steel Wool, which showcases a music box slowly winding up and sitting on this old-fashioned looking carpet as the shot zooms in, with a variation of the puppet's music box theme playing in the background. Laughing can be heard as the music box slowly opens to reveal the mimic in a clown animatronic costume. Now, this is interesting because according to the Tales from the Pizzaplex books, The first costume the Mimic ever wore was that of a jester, which is pretty similar to a clown, which would mean that we've now seen two of the costumes that were listed in the books on the Mimic in the games, the other of course being the lion costume at the end of Security Breach Ruin. After this, the trailer cuts to what looks like a reel of film malfunctioning, and for a few frames we can see a year listed, 1979, which to my knowledge is the earliest a FNAF game has taken place, with most of the other ones taking place in the 80s or 90s, and 3, 6, and Security Breach presumably happening sometime in the future. We've never gotten a game in the 70s before, so then the question is, could this finally be the Fredbear's Family Diner game that the fandom has been waiting for since the release of FNAF 2? Well, as much as I hate to say it, probably not. Everything points towards the game going in depth in the origin of these old mascot costumes from the end of Ruin, which opens the door for a whole new cast of characters beyond Freddy and the band. Even the tweet from Steelwool announcing the game hints towards this, with the caption, "Sometimes in order to understand the future, you have to revisit the past." Then of course we get the title reveal, Secrets of the Mimic, and the release year, 2025, which, knowing this series, may change. And I will say, one thing I do like here is the use of the font and overall visual style that does remind one a bit of the older FNAF games with its subtle serif fonts. And I do hope that Steelwool is able to lean in more on the retro themes that this game is going towards in terms of design. The Uncanny Valley rundown aesthetic of the first 4 FNAF games plus FNAF 6, I think did a lot to really make an environment that was genuinely creepy. And I don't think I really expressed all that much of an opinion on Security Breach on this channel, but looking back, I really did not like it. I think when it first came out, the excitement of having free roam in a FNAF game blinded me to its obvious aesthetic failings, because I think Steelwool really failed hard with its overly glossy and futuristic design. Like, there really isn't all that much to fear from a bright and lit up shopping mall. And the fact that our adversaries were made to look like furries and given goofy, self-aware personalities didn't help much either. Even though the Afton ending and Ruin helped with this somewhat, it just wasn't unsettling in the same way the earlier FNAF games were. And I don't think it's just the fact that I was an easily scared kid instead of a cynical teenager blinding me with nostalgia for FNAFs 1 through 6, because I do feel like a lot of the criticisms I have with a lot of the FNAF games Steelwool has created are pretty tangible complaints. Okay, whoa, I got way off track there. Anyway, last piece of FNAF news. Fnaf announced a collaboration with the game Dead by Daylight, a horror survival game where one player controls a monster and the other 4 take on the role of survivors to be hunted while they try to escape. The game is a lot of fun and currently offers 37 monsters to choose from, many of which from existing properties, like Ghostface, the Xenomorph, Chucky, and the Demogorgon, and I personally think FNAF would make an absolutely terrifying addition to this game, and I would certainly like to see one of the probable characters to be added, like Freddy himself or Springtrap. So thanks for watching to the end of the video. I was up all night editing this, and I am extensively tired, so I'm gonna go to bed now, even though the sun is up. So please make sure to like, subscribe to boost all the engagement and watch time and other stuff I pretend not to care about. And goodbye. I will see you in the next video.